Hello and welcome back to the show. So I just really want to jump in here straight away on the Nasdaq. I haven't made that many videos in the past 2 days because there wasn't really much to talk about, to be honest with you. As I've told you before, you know, we turned bearish within this ascent here as I was not convinced that the bottom was in. And, a few weeks later here, 2 weeks later, I have proven to be correct. We called the peak exactly right here, the day of the peak. I gave you the trend lines to be watching on my Twitter. Make sure you go there and follow me for live updates. And then we gave you great signals here all the way throughout the downtrend. And we mentioned that for the market to turn bearish, we had to drop below the 50 here, the green line on the hourly time frame, and remain below it. As you can see, that's what we've done consistently here. We've kind of gotten back above it twice, and then it became resistance, very clear resistance here. And then yesterday we tried going back above it a little bit here with earnings, but right now we've crashed back down below it. So right now, we did have the 10 and the 20 try to get back above the 50, but things are still bearish in my opinion. I've taken about 80% of my profits here just because you never know. The market this could be the bottom as long as we don't get a lower low here. That could very well be the bottom. So we're watching these levels right now. We're at a major level of support here. So we do want to be watching what happens. Do we start turning here immediately, or do we start going lower as I have been mentioning for the past 2-3 weeks here? Do we go lower to tag either the bottom of the bear flag right here, which is the parallel to the top resistance, or do we go to this kind of wedge trend line here to form a triangle in a fourth wave, which would make a lot of sense because Elliott wave, fourth waves usually end up being triangles because it's an area where bulls and bears are kind of fighting it out. So we'll be watching to see what happens here. But for the moment on the daily time frame, once again, we're still under the 50, under the 10, under the 20, and we're crashing down here. We have a pretty dramatic sell-off that's going on right now. And, I do believe this is going to create capitulation. If we could get a drop here to end this week and then kind of get some sideways action next week heading into the Fed. And then, maybe getting another week or two here going sideways, that could be really good accumulation. And that could be, we could see the PCC and PCCE spike once again to show us that shorts are really starting to pile up here. I've found that it usually spikes whenever the market is going kind of sideways close to the bottoms. And that's when, you then get the short squeeze. So for the moment right here, we're still watching what happens on US 100. As you can see, we dropped back below the 50. And if you're following us, well, you've been doing great these past 2 weeks. And we also have a little bit of Solana to be talking about in Bitcoin here. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Right now, the market is continuing to crash down. We still have room for some downside. Once again, if you're a bull, you really want to see the market turn at these levels right here, right around this high. If I draw a little box around the level of support here, it's basically the level of support. It's basically somewhere in there. You could find a little bit more precise, but that's basically a level of support. So I'm looking at what goes on within this little box, because if we do get a higher low, then I believe that we are going to take this peak out and this peak out. We could get a bigger rebound heading into the Fed. You really never know what's going to happen. That's why we take profits all the way down here. We still have a few bearish positions open, the one from the peak here. But if we end up getting a higher low, we break above this, maybe we come all the way back up to this trend line, and then we get another capitulation move. So there's a few ways this could play out. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen. That's why we manage risk. But for the moment, we're going down, and the quicker we can get to these trend lines, the better it is. I still think that the 14,100 area is very realistic here on NASDAQ because that's where the 10-month moving average is, which is major support. Right now, most time frames don't have a lot of support beneath them. Like on the NASDAQ, as you can see, we're under the 10 and the 20 on the weekly as well. The 50 week is at 13,500. So it's like a big gap here that everybody sees. And, people who are not looking at the monthly charts here, as you can see, this is a 4-hour chart. We're below every single moving average, getting the bearish realignment once again with the 50 below the 200 and the, basically this alignment right here, 10, 20, 50, 200. So once again, I'm sorry, I just want to show you the monthly time frame. As you can see here on a monthly time frame, we are right above that 10-month moving average, which is now at 14,044. It's interesting because the 10-month moving average is actually it was at 14,100 a few days ago, but I guess it makes sense because we're still in the same month. So if we keep going down, it's gonna go down as well. So it's gone down about 60 points here. So I don't know. Maybe we end October red, and then we go down to the 10-month moving average in November for the surrounding the Fed meeting there, before bouncing off of it and then going back up. Because right now, I mean, it's going down pretty much as fast as we're going down towards it. So I mean, this is kind of a interesting thing. So we'll be watching all of these time frames here. Once again, everything does remain bearish for now. We don't have any clear signs. We are bouncing off of our level of support, but for at the moment, there are no clear signs. Everything is bearish, and so that's how I prefer to look at the market. If I just go ahead and take a look at US 500 to see what's going on, we're kind of getting the same thing here with a higher low, once again developing right at the support level here on US 500 as well. That would be my little support level, because it's the previous peak here. I mean, previous little high before the bottom right there. Usually, if we get a little first wave, we'll pull back to that level, but here I just think that would be the best level of support. But once again, nothing super strong. We do want to see what happens here on US 500 here surrounding this area. But once again, I think the S&P is closer to its 50-week moving average now, or I think it's bouncing off of its 50-week moving average. So, this tells us that the next move could be pretty explosive, because last time we were surrounding this 50-week here was in March, and we all know what happened after that. So we'll be watching these levels. It is getting very, very interesting for US 500. I just want to take a look at the PCC and the PCCE. So nothing really too crazy for now. We don't have any large peaks developing. Yeah, so everything remains stable. Let's take a quick look at the US 10-year to see what's going on. So as you can see, we made a new high. We talked to you about that, and now we're coming back once again, bouncing off the 10-period moving average. I told you this. Although we are getting some divergences here on the MACD and probably on the RSI as well, there's nothing bearish about this chart just yet, and it could just keep going probably until the Fed meeting. So, which is why I'm saying the market could go a little bit lower here, maybe go sideways. I don't know, but right now the chart is completely bullish, and the market is acting like a bullish chart, where it's coming back down to levels of support here, which is, it broke out of this peak. It came right back to the peak, came right back to the 10, and now it's bouncing off. Where is it going to go from here? I don't know, but it still looks bullish to me, even though a lot of people are saying that the yields might be peaking. Maybe they are. The weekly chart is getting some sort of a little doji here, gravestone doji or something. Not a gravestone doji, but some sort of a doji here that could be a reversal pattern, a bearish reversal pattern. If we get this bar this week, and then next week we get a big red bar here for an evening star reversal pattern. But we will be watching to see what happens at these levels. Once again, if we look at the weekly charts for US 100, we do have a similar sort of doji to the 10-year yield. Isn't that interesting? Kind of the same thing here for S&P as it goes down and tags its 50-week moving average. So once again, very, very interesting, very important levels that we're seeing right now in the markets. We are getting very, very close to a bottom if we haven't seen it, right there. But we do have a little bit more downside. The risk here to me is about another percent. It could go up to 3% on NASDAQ if we end up crashing down and forming a bull flag rather than this wedge. But we will be watching to see what happens. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.